The search is on for a 20-year-old passenger who fell off the Royal Caribbean's Liberty of the Seas yesterday, and the Coast Guard search is underway. Hey, what's going on, Adventure fam? Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Friday to you. Hope you're going into the weekend with some crazy adventures planned. And look, before we jump into today's story, which is about a man who has gone overboard on the Liberty of the Seas, I want to take the next 10 seconds, invite you to subscribe, become part of the adventure family. We'd love for you to be a part of our family, and we appreciate all the support we can get. Turn on the notification bells and hit the like button if you love this kind of stuff. Now, without further ado, let's jump into the story of the day. A 20-year-old male passenger has gone overboard on the Royal Caribbean Liberty of the Seas. Now, the Liberty of the Seas, the Freedom class ship, was on a 4-night Eastern Caribbean sailing from and to Fort Lauderdale. So it was on its way back to the Fort Lauderdale port when the gentleman went overboard around 4:30 a.m. yesterday on April 4th. Now, it's estimated that the cruise ship was 57 miles from Great Inagua. And look, the United States Coast Guard is involved in this. The United States Coast Guard cutter Seneca and the United States Coast Guard station in Miami are on the search and rescue efforts looking for this passenger. Now, nobody knows exactly why this gentleman went overboard, if it was on purpose or was on accident. Now, there are some reports out there that are stating that he may have had an argument with his girlfriend and then jumped overboard. Certainly wouldn't be the first case of something like this happening, but let's hope for the best and hope the Coast Guard can rescue the individual and locate them and bring them back to safety so we can truly find out kind of what happened and make sure that this gentleman's actually okay. Now, the crew from the Liberty of the Seas did actually try to rescue the gentleman until the Coast Guard intervened around 9 or 10 a.m., which means that the crew was probably searching for the gentleman for about 4 to 5 hours before the Coast Guard got involved, which doesn't really seem to bode well for search and rescue efforts. You would think that somebody would be easily located within the first 4 or 5 hours of searching, but let's hope that the gentleman can be found by the Coast Guard here shortly, and hope that they don't have to call off the searches because they're not able to find anything. But it does look like Liberty of the Seas and their crew were assisting in the search until the Coast Guard took over around 9 or 10 a.m. on April 4th, which was yesterday. Now, of course, Royal Caribbean nor the Coast Guard have released the name of the individual for privacy reasons to this point. And look, there's over 3,000 passengers on this ship, and once the Coast Guard took over, the ship continued on its way back to Fort Lauderdale. They have the obligation to take care of all of the other passengers on board as well. Once the Coast Guard got involved and took over the search and rescue operations, that's exactly what Royal Caribbean did. They kind of went back on their course, headed back to Fort Lauderdale, and left the efforts into the Coast Guard's hands. You know, you hear about these, you never want to hear about these kinds of incidents on a cruise ship, and they're very, very rare. I mean, we don't hear about them very often, but when we do, it's like anything else. They're magnified, they're amplified, and they are just, you know, and rightfully so, they're blown all over the news because we want to bring awareness to those that are missing and those that have, you know, maybe gone overboard. But thankfully, this isn't a common occurrence. So if you're going on a cruise anytime soon, certainly this is not something for you to worry about. We always are in amazement when somebody goes overboard because a lot of the railings are quite high. You almost have to make an effort to really go overboard. And so hopefully they can find the gentleman. Hopefully they can bring him back to safety. And, you know, if he did, in fact, jump overboard on purpose, hopefully they can bring him on board and get him some the help that he needs, you know, to get over whatever he was, you know, feeling to make him do that. And so hopefully they're able to locate him. We don't like to see these kinds of stories. We always pray for a good outcome when it comes to you know, these kinds of incidences. And so hopefully we'll keep you guys updated on kind of what we find out. Certainly, I'm sure it's going to be a news story. It already is. And so we'll just kind of keep our tabs on it and see kind of what the outcome is. But it's always a sad story when you hear these things. So hopefully it's a good outcome and we're able to have a happy ending to this one. So without further ado, that's going to do it for me today. It's just a short story. Happy Friday to everybody. I hope you're doing well. Like I said, if you haven't subscribed, become part of the Adventure fam. We'd appreciate it. And hope you guys have a great weekend. We're going to pump out probably a couple videos over the weekend as well. So love you guys, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.